Hello. The universe or deity of your choice brought you here because the algorithm sure didn't. I'm here to share some insight with you on how to reconnect to higher source and guidance, to awaken you to remember what your soul mission is, why you incarnated down here in this lower dimension. We are all projections of the Creator from the highest dimension down to this lower dimension. Everyone with the soul is the Creator. Literally, that's what the soul is. It's a tiny piece of the Creator incarnated down here. And we can reconnect to the Creator and have that Creator consciousness in us. We can share the Creator's love and light and energy with all those around us. But there are some natural and some artificial barriers to that. And that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. This last election was about much more than politics. It was about freeing the world from the artificial constraints that are placed upon us and from the negative energy and entities that oppose the Creator. The Creator is pure energy, pure light, pure love. Everyone's felt that at one point in time in their life, but actually maintaining that connection can be rather difficult, especially in this environment of poisoning, brainwashing, indoctrination, and electromagnetic pollution. Many of those things exist primarily for the purpose of blocking our connection back to the Creator. For instance, everyone has a liquid crystal transceiver in the middle of their brain. It's called the pineal gland. A transceiver both sends and receives. However, from birth, we've been poisoned with injections of many different poisons, but including heavy metals. And we've also had toxins such as fluoride placed in our drinking water and in our toothpaste. These things calcify and deactivate our pineal gland so that we can no longer connect to our own souls. It is possible, however, to undo that damage. The first step in that process is to cut out the poison and stop ingesting it. Don't allow yourself to be injected, and you have to filter your water and not use fluoride toothpaste. Once you've stopped the poisoning, you still have to undo the damage that has already been done. And there's many different processes for that. You can Google that to decalcify your pineal gland. But some of the things that I've found that have worked well for me are apple cider vinegar. You can start with a low dosage. I'm not going to lie, it's very good for you, but it doesn't taste the best. But you don't need a whole lot. You can start with maybe a teaspoon in a glass of water and work your way up to maybe a couple tablespoons a day. And if you do this for a prolonged period of time, several months, that you'll begin to notice a difference. There's also things, seaweed is very good at heavy metal detox, particularly chlorella mixed with spirulina are very good for that as well. Those have both worked well for me. I've found Epsom salt baths help detox the body in general, and sound baths with crystal singing bowls or metal Tibetan singing bowls also seem to help me. Now, just because some of those work for me doesn't mean everything's going to work for you. What you need to do is experiment and listen to your body. Everyone's different. Everyone's an individual. I think the apple cider vinegar and the seaweed and seaweed derivatives will work for everybody. but everyone also has different modalities that will help them detox and help return them to their natural harmonic frequency. We are constantly bombarded and blasted with electromagnetic pollution, just in signals around us, but also from the devices around us, whether it's laptops, desktop computers, TVs, the cell phones that people carry around with them constantly. They are all designed to emit harmful frequencies that will affect your mood and will detach you and block your connection to your soul. So be very careful. The devices from just a few years ago were particularly harmful, but more modern devices are coming out that are much cleaner. But even so, you need to be very careful. Of particular importance is be careful using electronic devices that are plugged into a wall outlet. Get yourself a simple EMF meter that can measure both magnetic fields and also electrical fields, and compare that to the natural ambient background fields in nature, which are very low, and then compare that to your devices. And then plug your device in and you'll see those fields skyrocket. Now, I've found that doesn't happen if you use a battery backup and plug your device in. But if you plug directly into a wall outlet, you have to be very careful about coming in contact with that device while it's charging. But like I said, everything I say you can test for yourself. Once you begin this process, reach out to your soul. Speak to yourself, meditate. If you're the praying type, pray, but understand you're praying to yourself, but your higher dimensional self. Your soul that's right here is only a small, small fraction of what your ultimate soul is, and that soul grows exponentially at each dimension as we ascend until you get to all the way up to the creator, which is the universe. So obviously quite vast. But as you reach out and listen to your soul is constantly trying to speak to you, but of course it's being blocked by the things I've previously mentioned. One more thing about electromagnetic pollution. Faraday cages will help protect you from that, but of course not everyone has a Faraday cage or can construct something like that. However, one of the things I've found, you can make a grounding mat, and you can do it very cheaply. I'm sure there's people online who make those things. You can buy from them, but you have to be careful because not everyone who sells things does so for the right reasons, and not everything is legitimate. You can make something yourself. All you need is a little metal grid of wire. You can buy something probably for about $15 at a hardware store. A little chicken wire or something like that. And that's what I did. And then it was about 3 foot by 4 foot. And then I wrapped the edges with duct tape so it wasn't pokey or anything. And then I took an extension cord and I cut the one end off and exposed the wires, and I connected those wires, actually the grounding wire, to that metal mesh, and then plugged that grounding wire into an outlet. Now there's different ways you can do this. It's preferable to do this naturally if you can go out in nature barefoot, particularly early in the morning as the sun's coming up, and spend half an hour just grounding. We're constantly bombarded with this electromagnetic pollution, and it ionizes our body. It makes us ill and sick. And that's we have to detox from that. Hey, it's great if you can live off grid and you're out in the country. That's the best lifestyle. But increasingly, many people are in cities or suburban areas, and they're constantly bombarded. Anyway, this grounding mat, if you make it, plug it in, you might want to check your outlet to make sure that ground works. But once you do that, you can stand on that barefoot if you don't have the opportunity to be outside a lot, or if you're in a northern climate and it's freezing cold out and you don't want to walk around barefoot in the snow. Use that grounding mat, particularly if you are working with a computer or something like that for extended periods of time. That really helps. Now, I've talked about a few different things: heavy metal, I've talked about fluoride, I've talked about EMF pollution. There's also all of our food is poisoned. Anything that's been um, processed food is just coated with poison. There's many different poisons out there. Pretty much anything that's synthetic and not natural is poison. High fructose corn syrup is in everything. That's one of the worst toxins out there. I remember as a child, you'd walk around, everyone was skinny. If someone was buff, they might be 180, 190 pounds and muscular, but it was a once in a blue moon event to write home about if you saw some 300-pound fat person, because it was like, wow, I've never seen that. And, how could that happen? Now you can just walk around and there's so many people who are obese and sick and diseased, and that's not by accident. That's deliberate. The high fructose corn syrup will do that too. Most artificial sweeteners are toxic and can cause cancer or other diseases. When I was young and growing up, we had natural animal fats or healthy fats such as olive oil, not so much coconut oil. Not all the changes are bad. We have some things now that are very good and healthy. You have to make sure they're not processed. So natural, organic, unrefined, unprocessed coconut oil, extra virgin, unrefined, unprocessed olive oil. Olive oil is extremely good for you. You should drink between half to a full liter a week, and that you'll notice an immediate increase in your health. It's very high in antioxidants. If a lot of the crap that they sell you in the stores or push on you, particularly women, makeup, just stop wearing that makeup. It's full of chemicals. It affects your moods. It's poison, and it ruins your skin. Just rub a teaspoon or tablespoon of olive oil into your skin every day, and you'll notice an immediate effect. I know this sounds counterintuitive. If you've got lots of pimples and acne and things like that, try to clean your face a little bit with tea tree oil. Is very good for that. It's antiviral, antibacterial. But you can mix 4 or 5 drops of that with maybe a teaspoon of olive oil, and then rub that in, and you'll notice within a few days it's going to clear up, and you're going to have much healthier skin. You can even rub it into your hair. You can use it for lots of things. But those are good natural fats. Animal fats are very good and healthy for you too, if they're raised, pasture raised, if they're not given hormone and antibiotic injections, if they're not fed GMO crops. All those things turn a lot of the animal products that we have toxic, and they're not good for us. But if you live on a farm, you can raise your own meat. You can raise, if you have chickens, you can never starve because you always got eggs to eat, things like that. But a lot of those same things that are raised in a corporate environment that you buy in the store are not good for you, and they're toxic. All you have to do, I'm an engineer, and I get called out sometimes onto those corporate farms to look at damage to the big animal confinement barns. and they're just raised in a toxic environment. Anyone that's seen that would never eat pork or chicken or turkey or eat the eggs that you see in the store unless they're the more expensive, $10 for a dozen eggs that are pasture raised, that are organic raised, or preferably buy from a local farmer that you know and trust, that you can look in the eye and go, hey, how do you raise your animals? How do you, what kind of feed do you give them? You want very little feed, uh, because a lot of that feed is GMO and it's not good. Anyway, so uh, anyway, I got off on that tangent because another one of the major poisons that they poison us with are the vegetable oils. Those aren't vegetable oils, they're grain oils, and they're toxically and chemically processed, and they're just poison. They're horrible for you. Hydrogenated vegetable oils are pure poison, and it will kill you over time. If you detox from those and then you take just a little taste, you'll notice immediately how toxic it is. But those things are all poison. Stay away from them anymore. And you have to be careful no matter what you get. But something like extra virgin, unrefined, unprocessed olive oil, first pressing, something like that back before the inflation really kicked off. Used to run. I used to try to get something about $15 to $20 for half to 3/4 liter. Now for good olive oil, you're probably going to pay about $20 to $25 for half to a 3/4 liter. And some of those companies have been bought out by people who are no longer making sure that those things are high quality and healthy for you, or even purposely making them less healthy. There's other things out there. You got to be very careful about pesticides, and even some of the organic produce. Once it gets to the store, it's sprayed with water, but that's been dosed with toxic chemicals to help prevent bacterial growth. But you have to be careful because the chemical companies cannot be trusted. They know what they're doing. Their employees, in many instances, are well-meaning, but the people at the top are not. And many things in the chemical companies, big pharma is a major contributor to deliberately trying to ruin people's health and make people sick and diseased. And of course, they profit off of that. So you should always avoid that. There's no reason to ever take any big pharma products. There's always a natural and healthy alternative. Herbs. It's what the Creator created for us to make us healthy. One of the things that I do in almost everything that I eat, in addition to all the olive oil that I consume, in almost everything that I cook, and some of the things I don't cook too, I put turmeric is really, really healthy for you. It's very anti-inflammatory, very healthy. You have to pepper it. I don't know why, but you have to fresh ground black pepper, just a little bit. Maybe a 1 to 20 solution. You can experiment with that, but turmeric with a little bit of fresh ground pepper with it will make a big difference in your life, especially if you have inflammation or you're sick. I'm of Sicilian and Greek ancestry, and so one of the things you can do is go back to your ethnic background and see what were the things, their diet, what did they eat to be healthy. And so that's what I do. Olive oil, of course, is really big in the Greek diet, but so were all the Mediterranean spices and herbs. So I put rosemary and especially oregano. Oregano is huge. Um, uh, Thyme. Um, there's some other ones that skip my mind right now. But if you can grow your own little herb garden, that's the best thing. But a lot of you I know don't have that option. So go out and buy organic, uh, as fresh herbs as you can get. Um, but look at all the different, rosemary. I don't know if I mentioned that. Look at all the Italian herbs and seasonings, and go out and buy those individually, and it'll be pricey. I probably each little like 3 or 4 ounce container of that stuff that you get in the store, if it's good quality organic, might cost you $6 or $7. And so if you've got like 5 different things, basil's good too. You got to be careful with basil. If you have liver problems, it can interfere and exacerbate that and create some toxin buildup. So you got to be careful. You may need to do detoxes. The best thing to help detox and get poisons out of your body is clean, pure water, and then exercise. Exercise every day enough it doesn't have to be extreme, but for half an hour, get a little sweat, and your body will kick a lot of those toxins out, but you got to do it regularly. A lot of this stuff is common sense, but so many people don't realize that we're actively being poisoned. And all these things directly affect our body, but they also affect our connection to our soul. If your body is so racked with pain that you can't even think straight, or you can't think, you're just, you have to get those toxins out of your body, and your body will heal itself. It's designed to do that. Trying to think of some other things here. That's kind of enough to kind of get you started. But realize that no one is coming to save you. You got to do it yourself. You're responsible for your own well-being, your own health, your own connection to your soul. Understand that the whole system down here is designed to block you and draw you away from that. Government, education, that's not education when you go to a government school. That's indoctrination. And they'll tell you 2 or 3 truths to get one lie through to you. Religion, most organized religion is the same thing. Spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Spirituality is your connection back to the Creator. At best, organized religion is telling you a story about some other guy's connection that he had, but more often than not, it's once again another control system to lead you off in the wrong direction. If you're like me, when you first start on your path, maybe people are talking about how you need to meditate. Hey, look, a lot of meditation isn't right either. The whole purpose of meditation is to connect to your soul. Once you connect to your soul, you can connect back up to the Creator. It's all, once you key into that energy and that frequency, you can go all the way up to the top. Look, everything is energy. This is energy. It feels solid because it's very, very dense energy. But maybe you're not the type of person that really thinks about or vibes with that type of talking. But understand, like, even if you're an athlete or something that's not into that, hey, what do you do to get up for the game? You kick on your earphones and you put in your favorite tunes. That gets you psyched up. Guess what that is? That's energy. That's frequency. You're connecting to something that vibes with your natural, authentic frequency. Everything around us is designed to take us off of our authentic frequency. Sound is a great frequency aid. And that can be anything from music to, like I previously mentioned, singing bowls, things of that sort. Visible light, that's also frequency and energy. And for all my friends out there that say, well, I only believe what I can see with my own eyes, understand Homo sapien eyes can only see a very, very, very minuscule portion of the energy and light spectrum. The visible light spectrum for us is very small. It's bigger for some animals, which is why they seem to have more extrasensory perception or forewarning if things are coming. But you can have those exact same things if you start practicing and working on them. But first, you got to detox. Understand the people that are poisoning us are doing so deliberately. They don't have souls. They poison us because they're parasites and they feast on our souls. But in order to do so, they have to control us and they have to lower our frequency, because they can't do that when you're connected to the Creator, when you're connected back to Source. So I think I'll stop here right now. This is enough information for you to start doing your own research and looking at things. And hey, I just kind of scratched the surface here. Go ahead and down below, put as many comments as you like. Put down some things that you found or some poisons that have interfered with your physical health and also your energetic connection to your soul, and some things that work for you. There's tons of things out there, and working together, we can connect to each other energetically and to our souls and back up to the Creator. In doing so, we can transform Jia back to how it used to be and turn it into the paradise that it was always meant to be. I'll catch you all later. And don't forget, V for victory.